May the House please come to order. Welcome to the ZYGMUN Model United Nations closing ceremony. Over the last 3 days, we have seen you all debate, collaborate, and take on a variety of new challenges with admirable success. For this, we congratulate you. To start off our closing ceremony, I would like to invite our head of admin to the floor to deliver her closing remarks. As the youngest member of our team, Alex not only represents the vital part of the Secretariat, but the future of this conference. Madam Head of Admin, you have the floor.
Honorable delegates, esteemed directors, student officers, and fellow members of the Secretariat. 3 days ago, walking into this conference, we had 3 incredible speeches from Madam Secretary General, ASW Director, Mr. John Zerflin, and our Head of Public Affairs and Technology. They all took the floor to speak on a different and integral pillar that supports our ZYGMUN conference. These pillars also serve as insight to delegates on what the components of a viable and effective solution are. Madam Secretary General reminds us of the importance of peace, justice, and strong institutions. Her remarks warned us of the interconnected nature of our theme to the topics, and further to their resolution, being that without peace, justice, and strong institutions, any proposed solution is rendered ineffective. It takes bearing in mind all of these to create a solution that serves to benefit all in the long term. Mr. John Zerflin echoed the importance of collaboration. He warned that without us all, we are nothing, and as the future leaders of the world, we must know that collaboration is the keystone component to any worthwhile solution. Finally, our Head of Public Affairs and Technology began by pointing out ZYGMUN's growth and transition to the virtual format. He explained that MUN is an opportunity to find strength in our ideas, build globalism, and problem solve with a call to action to delegates to take something away from Model UN. He described it as a tool we should all take and add to our belt. The opening ceremony left delegates with a lot to consider. The speakers paved a road to an efficient solution that promotes peace and inclusivity and outlined several evident road stops in the journey. They noted that collaboration was along the road and highlighted the importance of constantly challenging one another's ideas to create the strongest solution, representing a mosaic of ideas. They noted that along the way, you need to consider other perspectives and build infrastructure that justly serves the needs of everyone, regardless of country, socioeconomic status, gender, or race. They emphasized the potential of past ideas as a building block to improve and create the strong institutions. I apologize for any technical errors. Honorable delegates, esteemed directors, student officers, and members of the Secretariat. 3 days ago, walking into this conference, we had 3 incredible speeches from Madam Secretary General, ASW Director, Mr. John Zerflin, and our Head of Public Affairs and Technology. They all took the floor to speak on different integral pillars that support our ZYGMUN conference. These pillars also serve as insight to delegates on what the components of a viable and effective solution are. Madam Secretary General reminded us of the importance of peace, justice, and strong institutions. Her remarks warned us of the interconnected nature of our theme to the topics and further to their resolution, being that without peace, justice, and strong institutions, any proposed solution is rendered ineffective. It takes bearing in mind that all of these are needed to create a solution that serves to benefit all in the long term. Mr. John Zerflin echoed the importance of collaboration. He warned that without us all, we are nothing, and as the future leaders of the world, we must know that collaboration is the keystone component to any worthwhile solution. Finally, our Head of Public Affairs and Technology began by pointing out ZYGMUN's growth and transition to the virtual format. He then explained MUN as an opportunity to find strength in our ideas, build globalism, and problem solve with a call to action for our delegates to take something away from Model UN. He described it as a tool we should all take and add to our belt. The opening ceremony left delegates with a lot to consider. The speakers paved the road to an efficient solution that promotes peace and inclusivity and outlined several evident road stops in the journey. They noted that collaboration was a long road and highlighted the importance of constantly challenging one another's ideas to create the strong solution representing a mosaic of ideas. They noted that along the way, you need to consider other perspectives and build infrastructure that justly serves the needs of everyone, regardless of socioeconomic status, country, gender, or race. They emphasized the potential of past ideas as a building block to improve and create the strong institutions needed to support strong solutions. Now, even through all the support, I am a tad embarrassed to admit that I thought the virtual format would pose a tremendous challenge to the delegates, inhibiting them. I worried that forging connections and blocks would be far too difficult, and even that delegates wouldn't hold themselves accountable to participate. But I'm also now so proud to say that I was terribly wrong. As I read through the resolutions and rolled through our 7 committees, I was truly blown away by the diplomacy, involvement, and calculation from the delegates. Throughout the conference, they raised a high bar for the level of debate, even higher. I saw delegates collaborate with and challenge one another, consistently questioning the feasibility, effectiveness, and impact of an entire resolution down to a single sub clause. I saw delegates in heated debate, pushing each other to see multifaceted issues from multifaceted perspectives. With this, I saw delegates contest points, always questioning their impacts on equity, equality, peace, and justice, pointing out the need for a solution for everyone, and not just MEDCs or certain populations. I saw connections formed in witty break time conversations, gossip box readings, and breakout rooms. I saw delegates arguing how strong institutions like the UN and NGOs could help them in solving their issues, while also considering which UN bodies and pillars they could implement to serve as the strong institutions facilitating their solutions. I saw forward-thinking resolutions passed that effectively made strides to resolve global conflicts in all 5 oceans, all 7 continents, all 195 countries, and actually even space, thanks to our junior committee. Even when things got tough, the platform crashed, the connection cut out, or when someone uttered the infamous words, "Delegate, you're muted," I saw a whole lot of remarkableness and grit to persevere through the challenges you wouldn't normally see at a conference. But call me greedy because I still hope to see more. I hope to see you all take these model United Nations solutions and use them as a stepping stone to concrete global solutions. I hope to see you truly take all the skills learned and practiced throughout this conference and use them for the betterment of the world. And lastly, I hope to see you all next year in person at the American School of Warsaw for the 5th Annual ZYGMUN Conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Head of Admin, for your speech. We appreciate your closing remarks. At the conference, delegates worked tirelessly, giving speeches, drafting resolutions, and making amendments. To honor this, your student officers have created videos celebrating your achievements of their respective committees.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Talia Doniu. I was one of this year's presidents in ECOSOC along with Pranit and Anna. We are extremely happy and proud of our delegates for being this active this year, and especially when proposing solutions regarding the topics of economic inclusion of refugees in host countries and combating organized cybercrime. The topics we examined this year were definitely demanding, but we need to admit that the level of debate was extremely high.
Yes, so during your committee hours, we addressed Sustainable Development Goal 16. Both topics of the ECOSOC were of course connected to this theme. Our delegates came up with effective solutions to these issues, which definitely would improve the circumstances in which many people live in, for instance, refugees in our societies. As a generation of young adults that are paving the path for their futures, they definitely had a very unique take on the issue.
So the delegates participated really well in committee. The first day started off a little slow, but they picked up after that on the second day, especially while debating the second resolution. They came up with great constructive amendments and they spoke a lot, especially once we called on them. And so all in all, I think it was a great experience and we'd love to meet these delegates again next year at ZYGMUN, hopefully in person.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Human Rights Council. My name is Despina, and I was one of the chairs for this committee, alongside with Sarah and Aisha.
Throughout our time together, we tackled the cases of preserving the ancestral homelands of indigenous populations, as well as protecting the rights of ethnic and religious minorities. The first topic explores the injustices and absence of implementations of laws regarding the collective rights of indigenous people. Furthermore, the second case will tackle the endangerment of ethnic and religious minorities.
Our committee experience was amazing. It consisted of dedicated delegates such as Senegal screaming at the chairs, wanting to prove a point, Republic of Korea debating with me in an amazing matter. And though the first day we were kind of skeptical of the participation in the committee, the amelioration of the delegates was amazing. Seeing them the last day and having them participate so much more was just a great experience to see. And overall, it was just an amazing conference.
Dear delegates and my fellow chairs, as the Disarmament Committee, we were structured around two main topics.
The first topic, which was combating threats to international security in cyberspace, and the second topic, which was countering the recruitment of youth in terrorist organizations. Our first topic represents an important achievement for the maintenance of international peace and stability in this crucial area of cyberspace. Additionally, our second topic revolved around the international community being increasingly confronted with the recruitment and exploitation of youth by terrorist and violent extremist groups. Our fruitful debates found good solutions for this phenomenon.
Participation and engagement were high, and we would like to thank all our delegates for being so involved in this discussion. The resolutions all received various amendments, which improved their overall quality. We would like to specifically thank the delegates of Sweden and Japan for submitting an amendment during every debate. Lastly, we would like to thank the delegate of Bolivia for his never-ending points of information to the chairs. Thank you so much.
We hope to see you at future conferences.
Welcome to the Environmental Committee. The topics discussed in the Environmental Committee these 3 days were regulating non-discriminatory distribution and consumption of natural resources and discussing industrial and overfishing in international waters and protected areas. They are both issues that negotiate problems that have a great environmental impact.
The first topic connects to the theme of the conference because systematic racism and conflict often have a connection with natural resource consumption and distribution. The second topic addresses the unjust amount of fishing and the amount of area that is not managed or protected in the ocean.
During our committee sessions, our delegates were able to have a fruitful debate, and we were really excited about all the participation we were seeing, even though most of you guys were newcomers. Thank you, delegates, for making this MUN experience so amazing for all of us, and we wish you a very great future in the MUN.
Our topics were data privacy and space militarization.
And we believe without strong treaties and regulations in place, it is almost impossible to achieve peace in both space and planet Earth.
Throughout the debate, the delegates have shown professionalism and knowledge on the topics we presented to them. And most definitely, my favorite moment during the debate was a controversial statement between the delegates from China, the United States, and Russia.
Hi delegates, I'm Anna.
I'm Darlene.
I'm Leanne.
And we were the presidents of the Security Council. Our topics this year were the situation in Sahel and the situation in Somalia.
The first crisis, the situation in Somalia, despite being over a decade long, still isn't close to being resolved, and it's one of the most complex issues in the entire world at the moment, due to the numerous interconnected factors contributing to its existence, such as famine, diseases, and extended violent conflict. The crisis in the Sahel, on the other hand, is one of the most forgotten but fastest growing issues in the world at the moment, and millions of families are being affected by the conflict.
In our committee, we've had some wonderful participation from, I'm proud to say, all of our delegates who were incredibly encouraging of each other, promoted collaboration, and just really blew all of us chairs out of the water. We were even treated to a special musical moment from the delegate of Niger and some unmoderated lobbying time. And we had some wonderfully passionate debate about a particularly fun clause that was amazingly controversial. And overall, we just had a wonderful committee. And I think I speak for all my chairs when I say we're so proud of our delegates.
Hi, we are the chairs for this year's GA4 Special Political and Decolonization Committee at the ZYGMUN conference. And I'm Max, and these are my co-chairs, Anna and Zoe. Our names are pretty short, so you should be able to remember them quite easily. These past couple days, we've been debating on several relevant issues.
The issues of our committee include how to mitigate political instability by combating the narcotics trade, as well as how to promote equitable development in the Caucasus region. As you can imagine, both extremely relevant issues and issues that both link back to the conference's theme, the Sustainable Development Goal 16. Anna?
Overall, we are so happy with how everyone is doing. We've met you guys over these past 3 days, and we've seen what amazing people you are, future global citizens of the world, and we're all really, really proud of you.
Thank you, student officers. Thank you, student officers, for your insightful remarks on your committees. We'd like to thank you all for doing such a wonderful job at moderating debate this year.
It is now time for our President of the General Assembly to deliver her remarks. Before she takes the stage, I would like to extend my personal thank you to her, however. She's undoubtedly the backbone of this conference and the mastermind behind much of what we've seen over the past few days. Her hard work and dedication to ZYGMUN is inspiring, and it has been my absolute honor to serve next to her on this year's Secretariat and to welcome her to the stage now. Madam President of the General Assembly, please take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Secretary, for the floor and your sweet introduction. Distinguished delegates, esteemed student officers, fellow members of the Secretariat, faculty advisors, and guests. 4 years ago was the very first session of ZYGMUN, and it was held right here at ASW, the American School of War Scholars. At this session were 60 delegates from 2 school groups in 3 countries. Today, we are virtually hosting 275 delegates from 35 different school groups in 17 countries. I attribute the tremendous growth of ZYGMUN to last year's session. You were faced with the implications of the COVID-19 pandemic. And however, we practiced resilience, open-mindedness, and flexibility when we became among the first, if not the very first conference to go virtual. In a time of uncertainty, we took on a challenge, which honored the work of our diligent student officers and gave quarantine delegates around the world much needed social interaction. Thus, ZYGMUN was recognized by more established conferences who reached out to us for counseling in regards to going virtual. Though the Secretariat had some initial reservations, I'm so glad we decided to take a chance, because if we hadn't, we may not be here today. Over the past few months, I've been working closely with the student officers of each and every committee. We met regularly, going over rules of procedure, becoming well acquainted with the ZYGMUN platform, and we got to know each other. The student officers made my job as the president of the GA so delightful and so easy. Their engagement, commitment, and professionalism during the planning process of ZYGMUN, as well as throughout the conference, are truly commendable. I am so lucky to have worked with such lovely individuals. Thank you, student officers, for making ZYGMUN an exceptional conference and an amazing experience for me as well as your delegates. I would like to also obviously acknowledge the wonderful work of the delegates of ZYGMUN. When jumping from Zoom meeting to Zoom meeting, I was almost shocked by the level of debate. Like Madam Head of Admin previously stated, we were somewhat concerned about the delegates' ability to adapt to the multi-layered virtual setting of this year's conference. But we were very pleasantly surprised to find that we had absolutely nothing to worry about. Apart from their flexibility, the delegates exemplified themselves through their diplomacy skills, practicing good communication, collaboration, conflict resolution, as well as emotional intelligence. Thank you, delegates, for coming to ZYGMUN prepared and willing to contribute to debate, whether that be in speeches, amendments, or resolution drafting. Speaking towards the end of the 4th annual ZYGMUN conference is very difficult. I, like Ian and Jules, have been participating in MUN for 7 years now. We have been to over 15 conferences together. And consequently, these two have become such close friends of mine. One second, sorry, one second. Our most memorable conference was definitely to Berlin, where we as freshmen participated in the Youth Assembly at the 26th session of ZYGMUN. And that trip was one big accumulation of exciting and life-changing memories. Honestly, that trip plays a huge role in who I am today and who I will become. I am going to be studying economics, politics, and social thought at Bard College, Berlin this fall. As for Alex, over the process of planning for ZYGMUN, I have come to consider her a friend. Oh my God, this is not supposed to be this emotional. Sorry. I'm just upset that I hadn't spent more time with her earlier. Her constant support and willingness to do more has been so helpful, and honestly super cute. My trust in Alex is great, and I am confident in saying that ZYGMUN will be in good hands for the next 2 years. Jules, Ian, Alex, thank you for the MUN trip memories, conference dinners, walks in the city, gossip, of course, and most of all, the friendships we've developed. I love you guys so much. There's one last person here who I would like to recognize, who deserves our recognition. As I'm sure you all by now realize, this conference would be impossible without the key contributions of many. However, there's one person who brings all these people together and truly makes the conference possible. This person is the ZYGMUN director, my dad, Mr. Douglas Julian. Mr. Julian works tirelessly during our internal MUN meetings and at home, speaking to faculty advisors, keeping the secretariat on track, setting up Zoom meetings, collecting data release forms, which can be difficult sometimes, and he does so much more. Above all, he makes ZYGMUN exciting. On behalf of all ZYGMUN participants, thank you, Mr. Julian, for facilitating every aspect of the conference. I'm honored to have been able to serve in a leadership role in ZYGMUN for the past 2 years, since I believe MUN is crucial in creating the leaders of tomorrow, exposing students to the most pressing issues that exist in our world, as well as inspiring them to tackle such issues themselves. Additionally, as many of you already know, the MUN community is full of genuine, intelligent people that care. As Margaret J. Wheatley has said, there is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. This quote perfectly articulates the reason I am so proud to be a part of ZYGMUN. I anticipate great things from all ZYGMUN participants. Although it pains me that I will most likely never participate in another MUN conference again, I'm genuinely overjoyed that my final experience was as meaningful and momentous as ZYGMUN. I couldn't imagine a better way to end this chapter of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Annika, for your speech. Your contributions here at ZYGMUN over the past 4 years will definitely go down. I would now like to invite Mr. Julian, the ZYGMUN director, to the floor to make ZYGMUN's closing remarks and give thanks.
Oh, my kid is.
Oh. Here.
Very topic. Very often does. I'm going to try to keep it together here as much as I can for the many people that we need to thank for making this conference a reality. I'd like to start, of course, with the entire admin team of the American School of Warsaw, In particular, our director, John Zerflu, the upper school principal, Michael Sheehan, and Ms. Laura Granson and Mr. Bart Prager, the principals, the vice principals of the high school and middle school, respectively. I'd like to thank Mr. Steven Sidaway, Mr. Toby Brunt, Mr. Don Wozniak, and Ms. Kasia Wojciechak for their logistical support of the conference and technical support in helping to make all of this work as smoothly as possible, considering the shortened time we often gave them. Very special thanks go to Ms. Andrea Robertson in Berlin and the entire MUN World team for creating the MUN platform, making it available to us and to everyone around the world. So for their support in every aspect really of running the conference. To all of you visiting advisors who I hope found the link to the live stream, I'd like to thank you obviously for your support of our program and for your confidence in us. We had quite a few directors and schools who were revisiting, including one who is back with us after being one of the two who first joined us in the very first ZYGMUN. So a special shout out to all of them. To our student officers, many of whom I see out in front of me in the otherwise very empty stadium, very empty theater in front of me. But not only them, also our student officers from Greece and Turkey and Cyprus, India, and even in South Africa. All of your tireless work in preparing for this year's conference and for your capable leadership of the committees. I'd also like to thank my MUN co-advisor, Dr. Ibra Smutek, who I'm sure wishes I was not quite as much control freak as I am, and that I give her a little bit more work to do. I promise you, if you're watching, that I'm working on it. And this is the part where the speech starts getting hard. To our head of academics, Alex took the initiative to apply for her very first high school MUN conference, and no less of one than ZYGMUN Berlin when she was still in grade 8. It's very uncommon that we are willing to take somebody on who hasn't even started high school at that point. But her letter of motivation and glowing recommendations from her faculty suggested to us that we should take a chance, and she proved very quickly that that was not a mistake. Watching her work incessantly on research and take meticulous notes on the train all the way to Berlin was incredibly impressive. And once she was there representing the United States on the legal committee, she made an immediate impression on her chairs and established herself very quickly as a leader in our MUN programs. With the rest of our secretariat all leaving us yesterday, technically, we're very happy to have some continuity, and we're happy that Alex, I hope, will stay with us for at least another, well, I said not, at least another 2 years. We won't hold you past that, I promise. And to our seniors, whose last day of school again was yesterday, and yet they're still here. Our head of public relations and technology, Ian Wilder, was a part of the trio of students who also applied to ZYGMUNers, 8th grade students, as a package deal, participated in the youth assembly in the 26th ZYGMUN as freshmen. It was not ASW, but the ZYGMUN organization that selected them for that highly competitive position. Ian eventually went on to be a country delegate at ZYGMUN the following year, and then was selected to be a student officer 2 years in a row, once, I might add, without actually properly applying for that position. It's also worth pointing out that it was on one of those Berlin trips, while spending a lot of hours on the Berlin-Warschau Express when we were bouncing around new ideas for this very conference, that he stumbled upon ZYGMUN being named for the Polish king who relocated the royal capital from Krakow to Warsaw. So when we go on and continue thinking of ZYGMUN, it will be hard not to also think about you. Our Secretary General, Jules Anting, was the second member of that same trio of 8th grade students participating in the Youth Assembly of Berlin that year. She has played a keystone role in our MUN program at ASW for her entire high school career, chairing many an after-school debate, and was also selected to chair at the ACMUN or ACMUN conference in Anatolia College. Jules fully embraces and uses for the benefit of the conference her Spanish and German heritage, even though sometimes she embraces the Spanish lines, which refer to she embraces the German and vice versa. But her steadfast engagement in our MUN program has been crucial in making the program what it is today. And I can't quite imagine we'd be in the same place as an organization without her having that part of it. And finally, Madam President of the General Assembly, Annika Julian, who coincidentally shares my last name, and even more coincidentally lives in a room in my home most of the time. And in the run-up to the ZYGMUN conference, she probably wishes she didn't. Annika was the third member of that same trio at the 26th Berlin Youth Assembly, and has been completely enthralled with Model United Nations since attending her first conference in Paris, I believe also with her members of the Secretariat in grade 6. I don't have to tell you much about her passion for Model United Nations. She's already, I think, proven that in her speech. So I will skip that part of what I've written. She has been in so many ways an inspiration to me. And she individually has more to do with my own work with Model United Nations than any other thing. These three seniors and I have been through a lot over the past 4 years, working closely through their entire high school careers. They are MUN to me, and so much more. I'm still wrapping my head around the idea of this program running without them. They are awesome. They are loved, and they will be deeply missed. And with that, I thank you. I thank them. I thank everybody again who I've already thanked. Please, if I left you out of my speech, then please also feel thanked. I thank everybody who's watching, whether you participate in the conference in any way or not. And thanks for the laughs, the good times, and the last 4 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Julian, for your closing remarks. I think it's difficult or impossible to sum up in a sentence just how much we appreciate everything that you've done for ZYGMUN and just how much we've enjoyed working with you over the past 4 years. So let me just say that I don't think that any of our life paths and this conference would be the same without all the work that you put in and without all of our shared experiences. Okay, will we gather around? Okay. Here we go. It is with tremendous melancholy, but great honor that we declare the 4th annual session of ZYGMUN's Model United Nations officially closed.
close.